there's always something new with straight up racing. It's you know, the Northwest Monsters always come out and kind of get a sneak peek of what we've got, you know, in store for the upcoming years. What's behind me is, it was a company called MegaBots that built this battle bot. This was called Eagle Prime, and it was built to do, you know, like world battles with other robots. You know, their company, you know, portfolio, their game plan was hopefully that other countries were going to build all these robots, and they're going to be able to have this, you know, like an arena or a stadium-sized battlefield where the robots, you know, defeated each other, you know, and battled for titles, and it never kicked on. You know, it's, whether it was, you know, that it was still kind of played, you know, as it was kind of fake, you know, obviously you still have human beings inside of this robot, so the battle was never going to be, you know, like, you know, a world war kind of action where there's going to be arms blowing off and, you know, ripping right through the center of it, you know. So there was a lot of things that they couldn't quite think through, you know, on trying to make this thing the entertainment portion as a fighting robot. We came across it, you know, with a little bit of luck. I don't know if it was bad luck, if it was what, but, you know, somehow this thing ended up in Straight Up Racing's position. You know, it came up on eBay, you know, and we were the highest bidder on it, and we brought this thing home. What our plans are with it yet, we don't know. You know, it's very complicated. I mean, there's more switches, levers, and gadgets inside that cockpit for two operators to run that we know how to figure out yet. So it operates, it functions, it moves, you know, the arms, everything moves, the grappler moves, the chainsaw works. It came with all the spare, you know, battle arms, but it's still so complex, you know, that the thing's running at super high pressures, you know, for hydraulics, because again, the thing was meant to be a fighting robot. They wanted it to be able to punch really fast, they wanted it to be able to move quick, and it just has too much movements to be able to, you know, try to be precise. You know, it's not like the Megasaurus where we purchased that, and that thing's been, you know, dialed in for, you know, 25 years, 30 years, and things been around where you can, you know, pick up a car and you can chew it, you could, you know, grab the steering wheel and rip it off, you can do all these things. This thing is so fast, so that's the first thing that we have to do, is try to rewrite code, because it's not just where you're pulling on a lever and you're moving one thing. You're moving a joystick that's writing a code instantly and running this code through an Ethernet cable to these electronic valves that move everything. So it's a lot of stuff that we don't understand that we have to try to simplify. And once we get the thing simplified, then we'll see what we can do to be able to add it to our show. Whether we can pick a car up, you know, what we're hoping maybe from like the core support, and then we can start ripping the car apart. So it's different than the Megasaurus that we purchased as well. You know, and I know you were hoping to come out here and see Megasaurus already, but it's already on the road and already working. It's in Trenton, New Jersey this weekend, right now at the Hot Wheels Tour. So it's, again, we've got a lot in store. I mean, we still have the tank, we still have the jet, we've got, you know, all of the monster trucks still, you know, and now we have the Megasaurus, and now we have this robot behind us that we've got all this stuff that we're going to try to, you know, push into 1-2 hour show. That way when people come to the Straight Up Racing and the Malicious Monster Truck Tour shows, they know that they're seeing a lot of action everywhere.
And looking at the schedule, you guys had a new schedule up last week, I saw, and you even got more shows up along the West Coast here. Let us know how the viewers, how all the new racetracks.
Our best thing is word of mouth. I mean, it's all of the tracks talk to each other, the fairs talk to each other, they see what we do, the quality that we have, you know, the effort that we put into a show, you know, and the growth that we have. And I mean, it's where when we show up to a convention, or, you know, the fairs call us now, so we're able to pick up more and more shows. We're turning down more shows than we're able to grab, because we don't have enough weekends. You know, it's one thing is we're not a middleman. You know, once we book our team, then everything's booked. So we don't have, you know, 10 other trucks that we could just start divvying out to here and here and here. We do one show a weekend. You know, that way we have a quality show every single weekend. So it's, you know, if we had, you know, 6 of myself, we could have a lot of shows on certain weekends. But, you know, it's right now we're sticking with the quality show, doing what we have every single week.
And looking at the schedule, you guys do go to WARPA and all this stuff in Portland, but I know some of the racetracks, probably a lot of them never showed up to WARPA, maybe not at all. How do you get called from all those racetracks? I mean, you're working here and you get a phone call.
Yep, a lot of them is, you know, we'll get an email through our website or from our Facebook, because we're very active with our Facebook. you know, showing what we do for shows, you know, all the displays that we do for every single venue, you know, whether the videos that you do or, you know, everybody else is always tags, you know, Straight Up Racing and the Malicious Monster Truck Tour, let alone, you know, the monster truck names. And when, you know, people start Googling, you know, monster trucks or whatever, we pop up on one of their first things on their browsers, you know, so it's, you know, you can't beat the Google search. I mean, you could try to bluff and make yourself seem like you're the biggest guy in the world, but I mean, you can't defeat the Google search. I mean, you can find out so much about somebody on Google that, you know, I mean, all you really have for yourself is making sure that you have a quality event, really.
Right. And so some of them probably saw my video, stuff like that. Will I be able to have any royalties from all that?
What do you mean by that? I mean, it's...
No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Oh,
about
you
it.
on yours. I thought you meant some of the tracks.
Yeah.
I think you get all your royalties. Aren't you rolling in the money?
No, I thought it since they watched my video and they call you up. Maybe
I don't know about that. But maybe we can work out something where you can get some more t-shirts.
Yeah. Okay. So you got the golf cart, you got Major Payne, you got Megasaurus. Certain tracks gonna have Megasaurus.
Yep.
After doing all these years, I mean, what year you first started doing all this?
I think this is going to be year 17 for us. So I think 2003 was the start. It's,
yeah.
You know, and I have no idea. I mean, we had our 5-year plan, and we met our 5-year plan in just a couple of years. So it's, you know, now we're trying to, you know, like this thing, we had no plan for this. We never even had the plan for Megasaurus. It wasn't something, it was just, we had joked around with the guy, you know, that, hey, you know, when you're ready to sell that thing, you let me know. And then he called one day and said, hey, I'm ready to sell. And it was like, okay, so we scrambled and, you know, we put everything together and now we have Megasaurus. It was, you know, and I'm grateful that it all came out, you know, the way it did, you know, and it's going to work out great because he still has the one dinosaur on the East Coast, you know, and then we'll have the one on the West Coast. So, you know, we're not in competition for him, you know, and I know that he's never going to come out here in competition for us. Likewise, every show that he's ever had that he didn't want to do that was too far away, that was out this way, he's turned around and given him our information. So it's not only did we get the dinosaur, we got the dinosaur with a full amount of bookings, you know, with Hot Wheels and then our own events and fairs.
Right. Wow. So, like you said, you started, what, 03, 06, and then you end up right now. I mean, would you ever imagine that this is going to be like this?
I would have never imagined it. You know, it's...
You know,
I don't know if it was, you know, my wife that made, you know, this all possible, or if it was just growing up. Because, I mean, when I started, I was just a young punk kid with monster trucks. You know, but I was hardworking, and that was the thing that set me different than most monster trucks. That was what the promoters all kept saying, was they loved how hardworking I was. Even though the trucks I had were old and they should have been retired, I still drove them hard. And, you know, I busted my hiney to make sure that, you know, I made every single event. You know, to this day, we've never canceled an event. You know, and I mean, you've seen at our shows, it doesn't matter if I got to stuff rags and duct tape and screws in something to be able to make the next round, I'm going to do it. Whether it means I have no oil pressure or whether we're running on 3 tires, I still make sure that we make every event, because it doesn't matter, you know, what it's going to cost us, because the people in the stands still want to have their entertainment, because if they're not happy with the show, they're never going to come back. You know, and then you have that, you know, where you've seen markets all over the world where they've had horrible promoters or horrible trucks go in and just ruin the market to where it never came back. You know, and that was what happened with the West Coast, was they had horrible shows, you know, 10, 15 years ago, and then the West Coast kind of went dormant for a long time. And then now we've turned around and woken up every single one of these markets, and then, you know, some of the markets are still scared to do a show, and then they're seeing all the other markets, you know, succeeding. So now, you know, you got some of the late bloomers starting to catch on and catching on with it. So that's what we're doing. You know, the fear is you know, of oversaturation, you know, so, you know, now that all the speedways are all, you know, on board and they're all doing shows and they're all making money with it, well, now the fairs all want to get involved with it. Well, if you have the speedways and the fairs doing shows, then you start oversaturating. So you have some, you know, you want to take as many shows, you know, close to home, because I love being home, but at one point, you know, we have to realize, hey, we need to be able to get into California. We need to give our markets, you know, a break, because we can't do everything week after week after week in the Puget Sound.
And the huge thing, I think, for me is, from the past years and stuff, up to now, and just fairly recently, 3, 4, 5 years, up and down the West Coast, a lot of racetracks. I mean, That wasn't like that in, years and years ago.
And a lot of racetracks have realized that they don't just have a race facility. They have, you know, an entertainment complex, you know. So now a lot of these racetracks are realizing that they can do mud bogs, they can do concerts, they can do other events. I mean, there's a couple of tracks that are just doing like Halloween stuff and, you know, pumpkin smashes, and they're reaching out and doing other things and promotions, because obviously, you know, racing isn't what it was before. You know, you've got so many other things out there with phones and video games and everything else competing for people's entertainment, so they have to do something to be able to catch the eyes. That's why they do the bike giveaways, or whether it's, you know, the pumpkin smash, or, you know, different kind of, you know, endurance races, you know, or monster trucks.
And so that's at the shows, stuff like that, you're getting bookings. But also, if anybody that don't know about it, you make parts for the whole monster truck industry, whoever wants them, even for Monster Jam trucks and everything like that.
You know, we're just like, you know, where I think we're the most difference is, you know, we're a promotion company that put on our own events, but we run our trucks hard. You know, we try to keep up with all of the industry, you know, standards of, you know, the two-wheel stunts, the wheelies, you know, the rollovers, the flips, the crashes, you know, the big air, you know, so our trucks, you know, are getting destroyed as well, just like everybody else, you know, that you see on Monster Jam. So we face the same problems as they do, but I don't want to have to change parts every single weekend. I don't want to have to spend $600,000 a year on just rotating parts in over and over and over again. So we try to make parts that last longer, that can take the beating. You know, I mean, everybody knows that monster trucks are nothing like they were in 1980, you know, or nothing like they were in 1990, let alone 2000. I mean, they change every year. There's something changing, whether it's frames, shocks, motors. You know, now it's you know, the planetaries, because as you know, the evolution of monster trucks changes, you know, the parts have to be stronger, they have to be lighter, because other things are getting heavier. You know, safety has to be increased because this is getting bigger. It's, you know, we're always kind of chasing that battle. So that's why we make the parts that we make, and when we find that this part is now, you know, fix this problem, but we move the problem over here, now we try to figure out, okay, is this is this something that we can fix and be right back out in a race, or is this something that needs to be fixed right now, that way, because this is too hard of a fix to, you know, to get done at a show. So it's the battle that every monster truck team has, and again, I think we run our trucks just as hard as most teams out there run. So it's when teams see that we make parts that hold up for what we do, then they ask for our parts.
Okay, I think we're going to end here. Would you like to share anything more, Bill?
You know, I mean, really anybody can go on YouTube and look up MegaBots or Eagle Prime and see what this robot does. You know, I mean, this is the sit-down position. It's 11.5 feet tall sitting down. It stands up, and it'll go taller than the ceiling of the shop does. It's 16.5 feet tall standing up. Again, we'll see what we can do to, you know, make this thing user-friendly and to where we can add it part of our show. Otherwise, one day it might just be sitting out in the yard as a decoration piece. We don't know.
Right. Thanks a lot, Bill.
Thank you, Patrick.
Okay.